Hey everyone, if you follow me, you know I like to have a little fun and inject humor here and there into the topics that I discuss, even though they are usually quite serious. But today, however, I want to talk about an issue that is no joke. One that has been a serious issue for decades now, but maybe is finally starting to be taken seriously. And that topic is fatherlessness. A topic that evokes strong emotions from both mothers and fathers, men and women, and of course from politicians on both sides of the aisle. But for all the talk over the past 30, 40, 50 years, has anything really been done to resolve the issue? Has anything been done other than to put the entire blame on fathers for the issue, even though the facts show it's not them who created it in the first place, but, in fact, the very people putting the blame on them? It is the very definition of victim blaming, and today we're going to examine that and talk about a recent effort put forth in Congress to address the epidemic of fatherlessness. Join me as we ask the question, will this really change anything, or is this just more of the same old, same old? All right, so let's get real for a second and start off with a positive. In June of this year, 2025, a resolution was introduced in Congress declaring fatherlessness in America a national crisis. Not a parenting trend, not a private issue, a national crisis. And why did they do that? Well, because 18.4 million children, that's 1 in 4 of them, are growing up without a father in the home. And now, after 40, almost 50 years of data showing that there was a problem and doing nothing about it, panic has set in. Now, even Washington has taken notice and is trying to scramble to come up with a way to fix it. And as they always do, they're talking about throwing money at the issue, talking about mentorship programs, re-entry initiatives, tax incentives. It's almost like they've just figured out now that kids need their dads. Which begs the question, why did it take so long? Well, let's lay it out. Let's talk about some sad truths. Kids are growing up without a father, and those that are 4 times more likely to end up living in poverty, 7 times more likely to become teen parents, twice as likely to drop out of school as kids who have their dad in their home, and they are way more likely to struggle with things like addiction, mental health, and incarceration. These aren't new revelations. They've been known for decades now. For the past 50 years, we have known that those stats were around, and we haven't done anything about it. We haven't even talked about it. If anything, we've done the exact opposite. We've demeaned fathers, dismissed them, doubled down on the toxicity directed towards them, and as I said earlier, put the entire blame on them. While at the same time we've told them that their only responsibility as a father is to pay up. We've acted like dad's absence is either irrelevant or his fault by default. No nuance, no accountability, just outrage. Outrage directed at men and fathers. And we as a society have declared that all single mothers are saints. And of course, all dads are deadbeats. Period. End of story. That has been the unbroken narrative for the better part of 3 generations now. And now, men have said, enough. Enough with this bullshit. And now that they have, suddenly there's a concern. But I want to talk about another part of the equation that they don't want to touch. Family court. Because in custody battles, even through today, about 85% of the time, mom gets primary custody. Now, to be fair, that's a better number than it was, say, 20 years ago, but it's still way out of line. And they get the custody not because they're the better parent, not because dads are incompetent, though most judges have been taught they are. And it's not because dads don't want custody or don't care. It's why they spend billions fighting for the ability to remain a dad to their children. It's because the system is based on an assumption that dads are secondary, optional, disposable, just like they view men. despite their claims that the tender years doctrine is no longer used because, well, it has been disproven, it's still applied every single day in the overwhelming majority of cases. And if dad wants to stay in his child's life, he's going to have to fight, and fight hard. He's likely going to end up to have to bankrupt himself. And oh yeah, he's going to be vilified for doing so. While at the same time, vilified if he doesn't. It is a true no-win scenario for fathers, where they better prepare themselves to face false allegations and claims, supervised visitation, court fees, legal battles, and if they're lucky, if they actually succeed, they might get 4 days a month with their kids. That is the standard order as it's known. It's been the default ruling in the overwhelming majority of cases since way back in the 1970s. And it's not based on any research, not based on facts nor abilities. It's based on nothing more than assumptions and conjecture. Assumptions that mothers do it all and fathers do nothing. Assumptions that the only thing fathers are good for is the money they bring in. Meanwhile, our culture glorifies single motherhood like it's a superhero badge. Turn on a sitcom and dads, well, they're either dumb, missing, or the punchline. But single moms, oh, they're heroic, fighting for their kids and doing what's right for the children. Even when she's doing everything and anything she can to destroy the relationship between those children and their father. Even things like Father's Day have become nothing more than backhanded compliments. And they always go to great lengths to make sure that they mention the single mothers who do it all. When in fact, most of them rarely, if ever, do anything except try and destroy their children. We tell men to be providers, then we rip their families from them and mock them for having to deal with it. Mock them for feeling bad or struggling afterward. We can't pretend that we value fatherhood while we systemically remove fathers from the home. And who really suffers in the end? The children. So let's bring this back to what matters most, or is supposed to anyway, the kids. Because this isn't about men's rights, it's about our children's futures. Boys need dads to model strength, accountability, and self-control. Girls need dads to feel loved, protected, and safe. And when dad is gone, almost always not by his choice, but by force or alienation, kids don't just lose a parent, they lose a piece of who they are. And society is telling us that that's a good thing. Let's be clear, fatherlessness didn't happen by accident. It's the result of a systemic dismantling of men and fathers by a system designed to destroy the family and encourage women to walk away. It's been built brick by brick through biased custody laws, media mockery, and social narratives that treat men like side characters in their own families. And now, after decades of damage, we're paying the price. Society is struggling, on the verge of collapse. We're paying a steep price, which is causing us to finally start to admit that maybe cutting dads out wasn't such a great idea after all. Sadly, though, the damage has already been done for the better part of 3 generations. It can't just be wiped away and undone. It has become part of our culture, part of our society. It's been drilled into us, all of us, like some sort of mantra. But we can't just dwell on the past. We need to focus on the future and enact meaningful change. Resolutions are great. Changing the laws would be even better. If we truly care about kids, we need to start caring about men and fathers, and not just on Father's Day. Not when Congress decides to drop a resolution. We need to do so all day, every day. We need to stop demonizing men and boys simply because it makes for a good soundbite or is fun to do. We need to fix the courts and stop incentivizing women and mothers to try and destroy men, and in the process, destroy their children. We need to stop playing games and looking to make men the scapegoats and tell the truth about the family breakdown. And most of all, we need to stop treating men, and especially dads, like they're expendable. And until and unless we do, nothing is going to change. Society will continue to break down until it eventually collapses. Sadly, my friends, we are not far from that happening. It's not decades, but years. And when it does, it's going to be way too late to do anything about it. So in conclusion, to the dads, I say, keep fighting to stay in your kids' lives. I know it's hard. I know sometimes it feels like it's going to break you. It may even break you. But you have to do your best. You have to keep trying. The children need to come first. And to all the grown kids wondering why their dad disappeared, maybe, just maybe, he didn't. Maybe he was pushed away. Maybe, just maybe, everything you've been told, everything you were made to believe, especially by your mother, was all a lie. It happens way more than you think. So reach out to your dad and ask him for his side of the story. And be open-minded enough to actually listen and accept what he's saying. And to everyone else, it's time we said it loud and clear. Dads matter. Men matter. And every time you mock them or make fun of them, every time you disparage them, ridicule them, or stay silent while others do, you are part of the problem. You need to do better, because the solution in the end starts with you.